Elliot and Jose, coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois, here on CCW TV. And for those of you who are wondering why I turned in the last segment to mouth weird clothes, is some kid was banging on the window.
Yeah, they saw the hours on our door. We've been closed for over an hour. Fucking people are idiots, man.
But the lights are on.
No, that's not true. All of the lights on the outside, they're all off. The only lights that are on are above us. Yeah. All the other lights are off.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah. Well, anyway, it was a little kid.
Trying to make excuses for stupid kids.
It was a little kid. Man, it was just a little kid. A little girl. It was a little girl.
She was like 12.
Stupid little girl. Anyway, we had asked you guys to give your suggestions on things you wanted us to talk about. And as a matter of fact, some of you had asked for our opinion on this particular book, which...
You'll probably never ask us for anything again.
No. The Haunt by Todd McFarlane, Robert Kirkman, Ryan Otley, and Greg Capullo.
What's the issue number?
What issue number? Issue number 1.
Oh,
that I can remember. And I'm going to say, this... You know what it is? For this book, I mean, I picked it up, I read it. For the number of really... I'm going to say, and I know you're going to get on me about this, for the amount of talent that's on this book, okay, it didn't mesh very well for me. It didn't. Greg Capullo did layouts.
Did the breakdowns.
And Ryan Otley does the finishes. Mm-hmm. I've seen Otley's work. I really like Otley's work. It didn't quite mesh here. The way they were together.
Todd McFarlane did the inks.
And McFarlane did, and there you go.
That's what
and then throw McFarlane's inks on top of that. It just didn't...
I mean, some of it, the reason I actually bought this is because I wasn't going to buy it, but looking through it, Otley's pencils are so strong that you still see his artistic style come out, even though McFarlane's like shitting all over it. You can still see the good Otley art.
But Capullo's layouts kind of let him down because some of the stuff is really hard. I mean, in some cases, the sequence of events, I'm not even so much in the beginning, like the action stuff.
Really?
But near the end, like here, and anyway, I'm sorry, really more towards the back, with the at the funeral. And you know what it is? The quiet moments. Ryan Otley really excels at the quiet moments. Right. And here, Capullo gives all this negative space there where you can fill in the word balloons, but it's not even done to that effect. And
I see what you're saying.
You look at Ryan Otley's work on Invincible.
Yeah, and even when there's tons of talking heads, it's still like fucking beautiful.
It is. It's really, and it's very. Otley can be very minimalist when he needs to, and right here, this is where it felt like Otley took over more. Right here,
I get that. Yeah, because these 2 pages here. This is where Elliot's talking about. There's just a lot of wasted space, a lot of negative space, and it's just like it's just really boring to look at. But then you get to here, which is the exact opposite, and the storytelling is so much better in these panels that one can only assume that Otley maybe did this one and Capullo did the other one because it's just that much better.
Right.
And it's really odd for like 4 pages to just change like so dramatically like that.
And one thing that they do in here, it's something that I think Brian Hitch got a lot of criticism for when he did this in Fantastic Four. And not so much in the beginning, but near the end, none of the panels have borders. There's no line delineating it. In the beginning, yes, but look at the end.
But you know what the thing with Hitches though is that these things are all filled with color. There was so much white in a lot of things that it just kind of
bled out.
It totally bled out. Yeah. The white totally bled out. Yeah. But here, each panel is filled with color, solid color,
and it is defined better.
Yeah, it's totally defined better. So that's not I didn't even mind that at all.
And then where the storytelling kind of suffered here is that when you get into the payoff of it, with the whole issue of... Okay, so let's get back into what the story is about. Haunt is about 2 brothers. Mm-hmm. One brother is like this black ops soldier, mercenary, and his brother is a priest. Mm-hmm. Okay, a priest who smokes and hires prostitutes.
And bangs prostitutes.
So fine. So you see these 2 brothers going on their separate paths, and the brother, the mercenary brother, and this is the part I was never clear on. The mercenary brother is killed on a mission to get some scientist who's been doing these radical genetic experiments. Mm-hmm. But when the brother sees that some scientist has been mutilating human beings, he takes it upon himself to kill the scientist and rescue the people. Doesn't think, hey, well, I was hired to get this guy for information that he has. Doesn't even consider, oh yeah, this is the part I love. The guy he shoots is killed, and he's still clutching the bag that has all his notes in it. It never occurs to the soldier to say, let me bring that, or not even to say that, oh, he was shot in the firefight, like he was killed in the crossfire, but I still have his notes. No, I'm going to take it upon myself to kill this guy and rescue these people. Fine. He's captured by competing mercenaries, killed, and then his brother, the priest, has to pick up the pieces afterwards, in a way. But here's where the storytelling kind of gets goofy. Because right back to those 2 pages where, again, all this negative space, it's apparently a funeral. And the brother shows up in the priest's limo. And the way it's drawn, without the dialogue, the priest says, well, you're just a figment of my imagination. I don't really see you, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the artwork, it doesn't really complement what's going on in the story. Or what's going on in the dialogue. Well, and it's kind of
confusing, too, because in one page you have him being tortured here, and then at the last panel, the woman's like, kill him. And then you're at the funeral. Well, it doesn't really, there's no captions or anything, and so I was assuming that it was his funeral and that he's dead, but then he's in here talking to the priest, and I'm like, well, then again, it's named the Haunt, and I'm like, well, then that's got to be his ghost. So for some reason, his ghost is talking to his brother, and he's following his brother around and
and the ghost, and he doesn't even look like a ghost. Is the other thing too. Although now these days in movies, ghosts don't look like ghosts, right? Move forward, and the brother who was killed is following the brother who is a priest back to his wife's house. Mm-hmm. And he says, well, you got to look after her. These people who killed me are going to be after her. The brother who's a priest doesn't want to believe it, blah, blah, blah. Payoff at the end when these guys come to attack him in his home. The dead brother possesses the live brother. And
they become the Haunt.
The Haunt. He becomes a spawn-type creature, which is kind of like... I don't understand. I don't understand what it was. So my guess is it had something to do with those genetic experiments that went on. It's not... I want to give Kirkman a little credit and think it's not that cut and dry. That he's not really, quote-unquote, dead.
Right.
And that it's not a simple case of...
Because you never really actually see him die.
Yes, exactly.
So there might be some kind of explanation.
There's some other kind of doohickey going on.
But
the storytelling just kind of suffered. The artwork kind of left me... You know what it is? I just had such great expectations of it, for all the talent that was involved. And this book has... I know Kirkman's doing it. But this book has McFarlane's stamp all over it.
His stink all over it. Yeah, that's totally exactly what it is.
I mean, the heavy religious overtones, and again...
and the character that looks like Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Spider-Man like this cover is just like, Spider-Man with a bunch of spooge, like, floating all over him. It's like, great, really? You couldn't, come up with a better, design?
Well, yeah, so... What's the book? I mean, I don't know. If it were just Kirkman and Otley, I think it's a different book.
It's a different book.
I think it's a better book.
Yeah, because
or hell, just make it Capullo and McFarlane.
Yeah,
it's
and I won't have to read it. But in the letters page, actually, Kirkman actually writes this whole thing about talking about the Haunt and how Todd McFarlane just had his fingers in everything. How he went through and did color corrections and ink. And I mean, he just kept on. Yeah. He's such a perfectionist. But here's the thing, though. He's such a perfectionist, but the guy hasn't done any comics in how long, himself. This just feels like a 90s Image comic. And that's,
way.
So
no,
I
you're
really
right.
wish that like
You're
Kirkman and Otley would have been like, meh, maybe you shouldn't. Comics are a little bit different than how they were back then. There's a reason why those things have stayed in the past. You don't want to bring back that stuff again. And unfortunately, McFarlane, probably it's Todd McFarlane. You're going to say no to Todd McFarlane?
Well,
if you're Ryan Otley and Robert Kirkman?
Well, it's something to elevate your profile a bit. The other thing too, though, is how long is this book planned to run? Is this an ongoing or a mini?
It's supposed to be an ongoing, but I can't see Otley doing both Invincible and this.
Yeah.
The reason he probably had to jump start on this is because Corey Walker is doing the 2-issue fill-in right now of Invincible. So this is probably, again, he's doing the pencils. Capullo is doing the heavy lifting, I guess, by doing the breakdowns, and Otley's just going in and making everything solid, making it look nice. But yeah, I would like to recommend this for Kirkman fans. I mean, I'm probably going to buy the next 2 issues to see, because I'm, again, like you said, I hope Kirkman can go somewhere with this.
See, the thing is, Kirkman, this isn't even Kirkman's strongest. I would have taken Destroyer over this.
Oh, I would too.
Destroyer, how long was that sucker
5
sitting
issues.
on the shelf, too? This feels like something that had been sitting on the shelf for a while.
Yeah, like 15 years.
Yeah. So, I rave about Kirkman's work, and I will. And I mean, this does feel like McFarlane's all over the book.
Yeah, someone actually asked me in the comments a couple weeks ago what I thought about it, and I was just like, well, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just too much McFarlane for me, and there's a reason why I stopped collecting Spawn issue 20.
And can someone give me a religious figure in comics that isn't a hypocrite and detestable and all that? I mean, I know Small Maniac, and I had
Daredevil?
no. There's another commenter whose name I forget.
No, I said
who didn't care for the portrayal of
Daredevil.
Catholics.
Oh, that's right.
And said that Daredevil was too much.
Yeah.
And Small Maniac and I, have respectfully disagreed on some issues that we know deal with a bit. Our disagreements begin from our religious upbringings. Mm-hmm. So I would like to see a religious character in comics that was not a hypocrite.
Isn't Rob Liefeld doing like a Bible comic?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to get it right.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to read that. When's that thing coming out?
I forget. Oh, I've seen that. No.
He'll get it right. I have faith in Rob Liefeld.
All right. So, the Haunt, didn't do it for me, and kind of, Kirkman's name alone, Kirkman and Otley are what's keeping it afloat right now.
For me. For us.
When we come back, we're going to talk about a book that we just didn't get.
But people love it.
But people love it.
Reason.
So, we'll see. Hope you join us.